Hi there. Welcome again to a new Lazy Show here on YouTube as well as on Facebook, where we show you different ways to save time using AutoCAD, right? So if you are new to the show, my name is Irving, and I show up here each Sunday at 10 a.m. That is Philadelphia, Pennsylvania time in the United States. So I'm very excited for today's live stream where we're gonna do this real project, right? So we can start learning AutoCAD and practicing, right? So before we start today's live stream, we have already people writing on the chat. That's awesome. I'm gonna start reading some of your comments soon. But first, I want to mention a couple of things. So the first thing I want to mention is that we have a let's see over here. Give me one sec. Okay. So the first thing I want to mention is I want to say thank you to our new YouTube member. Yes, Jeff Wallington. Thank you, Jeff, for believing on what I do here, which is save you a little bit of time in AutoCAD. So, and thank you to all of you who support my work, of course, here on YouTube as well as on Patreon. So that's the first thing I want to mention. So the second thing is that we have a date for our CAD meetings already. So that's awesome. That's a new thing that I'm implementing on the channel. So these AutoCAD meetings by Zoom. So we have a date, and if you don't know yet, I posted it on our YouTube community post, but the date I can give it to you right now is on Saturday, January 29th. Yes, that's the date, and the Zoom link is also on our community post. Maybe I can show it to you really quick right now, so maybe you missed that post. So let's see. All right. So it's right here. Hopefully you're seeing my screen. If you go to the membership on my channel, of course, the Lazy Arquitecto, you will have the information with the Zoom link over here. All right. So that would be the two things that I want to mention. Let me go to the chat and start reading some of your comments already. Duke, my friend Duke is on the chat, says, good morning, Irving. Good morning, Duke. Hope you are doing great. And we're going to start soon our live show. Thank you, Duke, for being here. Felicia Hernandez is also on the chat. Good morning, Lazy Arquitecto. Buena transmisión en vivo. Bendiciones. Gracias, Felicia, por estar aquí con nosotros. So I think we are almost ready to start our show. Okay. So as always, you can interrupt me at any time, right, during my presentation. I want to make this interactive, and you can ask me questions. You can give me suggestions, and I'll be able to read your question live, right? Duke is saying, doing good. Hope you're also. Yes, Duke, I'm doing good. And I'm very excited for today's live stream where we're going to draw this real project. Let's see how it goes. Okay, I think it's time to start the show, right? All right. So a client wants to remodel his bathroom, which is this one over here, but he doesn't know its size. So let's create an existing bathroom plan from scratch, right? So let's start that. So the first thing that we're gonna do is you can access, of course, the files if you want to follow along. So what we need to do is, of course, create a new drawing. I'm gonna go and do that. Create a new drawing, following going over here on the AutoCAD icon and say new. Over here, I'm gonna pick the Imperial Architecture. You can pick metric architecture if you want, but I'm in the United States, so Imperial is my units. So once I do that, I can go to model space, and I'm gonna hide myself because I want to enjoy a cleaner screen. So I'm gonna hide myself right there. So we have a new drawing, nothing fancy, but what we can do is add the survey of the bathroom that I'm sharing, and simply click and dragging it to AutoCAD like so, right? So at this point, I can simply click and accept everything by pressing enter. So I'm gonna zoom on this image over here, and so that's the survey that we're gonna start drawing. And I'm gonna really quick rotate it using the rotate command, just to have it nice and aligned. And then what I can do is go over here and click and move this window over here on the corner so I can start drawing this bathroom survey, right? So I'm gonna place it like so really quick. All right, right there. And finally we can pin it, right? Like so. So before we continue, we have a comment on the chat, and it's Jeff Wallington says, good morning. Good morning, Jeff. Thank you for being here with us today, where we're gonna do this real project, an existing bathroom. So thank you, Jeff. Doug is also on the chat. It says, I look at this earlier, really tight for toilet. Yes, Doug, that's what we're gonna draw up today. Let's see how it goes. All right, so let's keep moving. Once we have that on our corner, let's create a new drawing now by going to the AutoCAD logo and say new. Again, we're gonna pick the Imperial Architecture, and AutoCAD is giving us a nice title block already. So let's go to model space, where we're gonna start drawing this existing bathroom. The first thing I want to do before I do anything is set up myself, and I'm gonna save this drawing with Control S, right? So I'm gonna draw it, save it, sorry, and say something like existing bathroom and save it. So that way we don't lose our progress and we are ready to start. So I'm not gonna need my ribbon for this exercise, so I'm gonna hide it using the ribbon close. And I'm gonna need some of my tool palettes. The first one is the properties. So I'm gonna open the property palette, and I'm gonna also need the layer palette. So I'm gonna open the layer palette. So I have both right there, but what I like to do is lock it. So I'm gonna right click and say anchor left. So that way I can go and hover over whenever I need it. So we're ready to start, and let's see how this goes. All right. So the first thing I'm gonna do is draw a rectangle for my bathroom. So I'm gonna do that using the rectangle command, and I'm gonna pick over here a point on my screen and type D to specify a dimension. So the length would be, we're saying 6 feet 9 over here. So that's what I'm gonna do, 6 feet 9, and press enter. And for the width, it's gonna be 4 feet 11. So 4 feet 11, and boom, I'll have my rectangle. Finally, I can place it on my screen like so. Next, what I like to do is draw the thickness of my wall, which is 4 inches according to the survey. So 4 inches, offset, and we're gonna offset it 4 inches. And we're gonna offset it to the outside because I don't want to modify my interior dimension, right? Next, I'm gonna place my door, which is 3 inches from the wall. So I'm gonna draw a line And from this point, I'm gonna hover on it and move to the side and type 3 inches and then move it down. I'm gonna activate my ortho mode so I can draw nicely and straight. I'm gonna click like so. I can use the line command again, but I'm gonna press enter simply to repeat the line command and hover over and type 2 feet 4 for my door width, and finally move down like so. At this point, I can trim this using the trim command, and I'm going to simply click here and here to trim that part. Right. So then, what I like to do is also draw some adjacent rooms, so that way I can add some context to this bathroom. So that's what I'm gonna do really quick with the rectangle command. Click over here and then hovering over here, I'm gonna go and click like so. The same for this part. I'm gonna go hover over here and go down like so. All right. So at this point, I'm gonna use the trim command to clean some of this geometry like so. And then finally over here like so. So I need also the context on the other side. So I'm gonna mirror this part using the mirror command. And I'm gonna mirror it from this center point or midpoint and going down, and erase objects, no, of course. And I will have it like that. So at this point, I can continue to trim this part like so, and then also on this part. So we need one more piece of wall over here for the closet. So I'm gonna copy this. You see using the CO shortcut, and we don't have a dimension, so that's not a problem because this is just to give a context. So I'm gonna place it there. So finally, of course, trim this piece. And so at this point, you can see that there are some overlapping lines. We can quickly fix that using the overkill command. So once we do that, we can select everything, and you can see there are overlapping parts over here. So AutoCAD is suggesting us the tolerance of 2. That's fine, and I'm gonna click OK. So you can see now we have nice and clean lines in our walls. Awesome. So with 6 people connected, that's awesome that we are here. We have a comment before we continue, and it's Duke says, I believe code is 15-inch minimum from center to adjacent wall and vanity. That's a nice comment. Duke, you're talking about you going ahead now. We're not placing this yet, but let's see how this goes. So at this point, what I'm gonna do is start adding some of these doors and elements. So I'm gonna go to the download files to access that. So I'm gonna open this file, bathroom blocks, and we're gonna have these blocks over here because we don't want to redraw any of these items. If we are on a professional environment, you never redraw blocks, right? So that's why we're gonna use or utilize these blocks. So I simply copy it with Control C, and I'm gonna paste it with Control V over here. So at this point, I don't need the blocks, so I'm gonna close it, and I don't want to save the changes. All right, so let's start implementing the door. So we have a door over here, and to place it, I'm gonna move it from the base point and place it over here like so. We can see our door is not facing the right direction, so let's simply fix that using the mirror command. And so as you can see, if we click anywhere here, we're not gonna have the nice center line. So what we can do is cancel that and use the mirror command. But in this case, we can type M2P for middle between 2 points, and that way I can click here, and I can mirror my door like so. So now it's facing correctly, and let's keep moving with the other blocks. So at this point, I'm gonna place my bathtub. I'm gonna hold it from the base point and simply place it like so. As we can see, we have a problem here because our bathtub is bigger than our restroom. So let's fix that. Let's open the block by double clicking on it and say okay. And we have another problem here because now we are on the block editor, but we cannot see the size of our bathroom to scale it, right? So let's close this. That's not a problem. Let's close this block editor and discard changes. Let's use a different approach. I'm gonna select my block and right click on it and say edit block in place. So once I do that, we're gonna see that we can edit our block, but also we'll have a reference our bathroom walls, right? Which is nice. So at this point, I'm gonna stretch my bathtub using the stretch command. I'm gonna stretch all of this part and from this point and move it down like so. Awesome. So since we're here, let's make sure that the size of our bathtub is also 2 feet 10. So let's see that with the dimension command. So let's see, click over here and let's see that it is 2 feet 6. So that means we need 4 inches. That's not a problem. Let's use the stretch command again to add 2 inches at each side. So I'm gonna stretch this 2 inches, and then I'm gonna repeat that pressing enter for stretching the other side 2 inches also. So that way I keep my faucet centered on my bathtub. So at this point we can close the editor mode using the ref close command. So once we do that, AutoCAD is asking to save. Yes, of course, save. And we can say okay. Awesome. So we quickly modified our bathtub to fit our bathroom. And let's keep moving. I'm gonna add now the vanity sink over here. And again, I'm gonna go and moving it from the base point to this corner, and then I'm gonna rotate it from the same point, and then finally move it to the side according to our survey 2 feet 10. So I'm gonna move it 2 feet 10 like so. And finally our toilet, right? Let's do the same approach, move it from the base point. In this case, instead of using the rotate command, I'm simply gonna use the grip. Click on the grip and press enter to activate the rotate command and rotate it like so. So now I can move it 1 foot 1 according to the survey, 1 foot 1, and press enter. Right, so we drew, I think, all of our geometry for our bathtub, so we don't need any of these blocks anymore. So I'm gonna delete it, and we are almost there. So we start now, we need to start adding annotations, right? So before we do that, we have a new comment on the chat, and it's our friend Kumar. Kumar says, "Hi, good morning, sir." Good morning, Kumar. Thank you for being here with us. That's awesome that you keep showing up each week. Thank you. And Jeff also says, "Since I'm new to this program, how do you get the blocks?" I can. I have a link on the video description, Jeff. So yeah, and then Mark Duke also says nothing like dynamic blocks. This is an introduction to AutoCAD. Douglas, Mikkel. So that's why we're doing this on each step, because I know there are folks who wants to learn this program. But I can do in the future maybe an existing drawing using dynamic blocks. Um, Good for you, says Huda. Thank you, Huda, for being here today with us. I think you're new to the show. That's awesome that more people are finding us. And let's keep moving with 9 people connected. So at this point, what I can do is start adding some of my annotations. And so I'm gonna start with adding a piece of text, right, to give some context. Bedroom over here. So for that, I'm gonna use the mtext command, and I'm gonna draw a window over here to place it, and this would be a bedroom. I'm gonna select all and underline it with the shortcut control U, so that way it can be more pronounced, because this is a a room name, right? So as you can see, our text is very, very tiny. So instead of guessing the size of my text, what I can do is access my material over here where it says AutoCAD scale factors. So I'm going to open that up, and that's gonna help us to avoid the guessing, because we'll never want to guess sizes in AutoCAD, right? So if we want to draw professional drawings, we need to follow some standards. So we have this, but before we are able to utilize this chart, I need to go to paper space or layout. So let's go there, and we already have a viewport here. I'm gonna delete it just to show you how to create it. So I'm gonna create a viewport really quick, and I'm gonna specify my viewport by clicking 2 points like so. So now I need to pick my drawing scale. So I'm gonna select my viewport. I could also get inside my viewport by double click on it. And then I'm going to pick a drawing scale from the status bar here in AutoCAD. This is called status bar. And I'm going to try a scale of maybe 1 inch equals a foot. That looks tiny to me. So I'm going to try the next one, which is 1.5 inch equals a foot. That looks much better. So I'm going to accept that by double click outside my viewport. So now that we know our drawing scale, right, 1.5 inch equal a foot, we can now change the size of our text according to our drawing scale. So if we go to this chart, we can find our drawing scale and say that the standard text would be 1 inch, and the major heading would be 1.5 inches. So a standard text would be a note, and a major heading would be a room name, right? So that's why we're gonna pick 1.5 inch for our room name. So let's go over here and select our text, go to the properties and change to 1.5, and now it's looking much better. So at this point, I'm gonna copy some of these room names with Control C and Control V and start pasting them, right? Like so. I can press Enter to copy also, and finally over here. So I'm gonna quickly now change some of these room names. So this will be a closet according to our survey, and this will be, of course, a bathroom. And finally, this would be the adjacent house, right? So this would be the adjacent house over here, like so. So next, we need to add some dimensions, right? So let's add that with the dimension command. And let's select 2 points on our screen to measure this part like so. As you can see, our dimension is coming very, very tiny, but knowing our drawing scale, that we can quickly fix that. So let's go to our drawing scale again over here, and we can see that our factor for our scale, it's gonna be 8. So let's use that number, right? We're using 1.5 inches equals a foot. That's our drawing scale. So let's select our dimension, and from the properties, let's change a dim scale from 1 to 8, and you can see immediately we have a bigger dimension. Now, if we want to make sure 100% that we're using the correct size for our dimension, I'm going to copy this really quick to the side and explode it. Right? I'm going to explode this dimension and check my text. So from the properties, we can see that this text height is 3/4. So let's make sure that's the correct size according to our chart. So for a standard text, no, that would be 1 inch, right? So 1 inch, that would be 1/8 of an inch. So that's not right then. So what we can do is, again, we want to use 1/8 of an inch over here. So what we can do is first find out our dimension style. In this case is called standard. And then we can fix that using the dimst command. So over here, we can edit our dimension style, right? So we can modify it and go to the part that we want to modify. In this case, we only want to modify the text. As you can see, they're using 30 seconds, but we want to use 1/8 of an inch. So that's all we need. And we can see once we do that and click close, the dimension is bigger now, right? So again, to make sure that's correct, I'm going to copy this dimension really quick to the side and explode it, right? And if we select our dimension, we can see now that the text height is 1 inch, and according to our drawing scale, at 1.5 inch, it's 1 inch. Awesome. So we can see that we're using the correct dimension size, so we can erase this part. We don't need it anymore. So let's keep adding dimensions really quick. With the dimension command, I'm going to add one more dimension over here. And as you can see, the dimension is still coming small. So this means we have to change every time our dimension size. And the answer is no. We can use a system variable called dim scale, like so, to specify the dimension scale that we already know. So remember, our factor is 8. So that's what we're going to use for our dim scale. Simply type 8. And now we can see that if we add a dimension, right, it's going to come on the correct scale. Awesome. So at this point, I'm going to press enter to repeat the dimension command and start adding some of these dimensions over here to locate the sink as well as the toilet. As you can see, these dimensions space look a little not professional. What we can do is use the dim space command, and we can select our base dimension and also select the dimensions to space, which are all of them. And then once we do that, we can specify a value. So I want something like the wall thickness. So 5 inches will work. So 5 and press enter. And as you can see now, our dimensions were spaced evenly. So I'm going to move this text a little bit to the side like so. All right. So what else? We need a title, of course. So that's the final piece. So we need a title. So I'm going to copy one of these texts over here with Control V, and simply change this to a title, right? Bathroom or existing bathroom. So once I do that, I need to find out the exact size for my title, right? Again, we cannot just simply guess. So let's go, and we can see that our title would be a 2 inches size for our text. So that's what we're gonna need. So let's change the properties from 1.5 inch to 2 inches. And the last thing I want to do is change my text to bold, so that way it looks much better. I'm gonna copy another piece of text over here to specify my scale. So I'm gonna say scale, and we know our scale is gonna be is according to our viewport, right? Our drawing scale is 1.5 inch. All right, that's what we know already. I'm gonna say unstack and equal to 1 foot. So that way, whoever needs to print this drawing, they know the correct scale. So, all right, so we have most of our geometry and an annotation drawn. At this point, let's do a test to see how this is gonna print or PDF'd. So let's go back over here on layout and let's do a preview, right? With Control P. I'm gonna do a print preview. So I want to create a PDF. That's correct. The size, it's 24 by 36. That's also correct. Extend, I always like to have it center the plot. And for the scale, if you want to professionally print this, you need to have it at 1:1 scale. Scale lightweights, that's always need to be there. And for our plot styles, let's select that, and we can see that we only have STV files that's named plot styles, but what I like to do is use colors to control my line weight. So for now, let's keep it at none and apply to layout so we don't lose our settings. And let's do a preview. As you can see, it's looking good, but we need to add some line weights, right, to give it some depth to this drawing. So let's cancel that and let's close the dialog box over here. Let's go to model space to start placing some of these objects on the correct layers to emphasize some of the walls and so on. So let's open the layer palette, and we can see that AutoCAD, when we pick the template, it's already giving us some layers. If we need a layer, we can simply click this icon and create one. That's not a problem, but we already have some. So we're gonna reuse some of these layers. Now, here I will need my ribbon, right, to pick my layers, but not really. Let me show you. What we can do is expand or click the access, quick access panel. This is called the quick access, and we can pick the layer option, so that way we always have our layer over here. So now that we have that, let's quickly select our text and right click and pick select similar, so that way I can quickly select all of my text like so, and then I can place it on the correct layer, in this case text. Next, what I want to do is select my dimensions and do the same procedure. Right click, select similar, and then place my dimensions on the correct layer. Finally, well, not finally, but let's place our plumbing on the plumbing layer like so, and then our door, of course, on the correct layer also, doors, and finally our walls also on the correct layer by using the select similar, and then placed our walls on the walls layer. Awesome. So we quickly placed our objects on the correct layers, but one thing that I like to change here is the color of our plumbing is the same color of our wall. So I don't like that. So I'm going to change the plumbing layer to a different color, something like color 9, color 8, and click OK. So that way I can differentiate this plumbing layer from my walls. All right. So we quickly assign layers to our geometry. Let's do a quick test by using the control P over here, and let's do a preview, right? So let's do a preview, and you can see that this is not looking monochrome, is looking in colors, and that's not what we want if we want to professionally print or PDF our drawings. That's why if we pick a different plot style, in this case monochrome STV, let's check that out. Let's do a preview, and still we're not having that monochrome look. So that's why I don't like to use named plot styles. These are called named plot styles. So I want to use a CTV or a color plot style. So what I can do is use a system variable called convert ES styles. And once I do that, AutoCAD is going to convert name plot styles to color dependent plot styles. That's what we want. So let's click OK. And now when we do a control P for printing, we're going to see that under the plot styles, we have more options. In this case, what we want to use is the monochrome CTV. So once we have that, let's do a preview, and we can see that now our preview is looking much better monochrome, but still we're not getting the line weights. So let's fix that, the different line weights. So let's fix that by adding some line weights to our layers, right? So over here, I like to click apply to layout so I don't lose my settings, and I'm going to cancel this. So now how do we apply line weights, right? I guess, again, I don't like to guess anything. So what I can do is open from the materials, the national CAD standards for line weights. And here we can have different line weights values that we can use. And for this small project, we're gonna use simply three, the white, medium, and thin. So white would be 0.50, 35, and 25. So remember those three values. Now we need to start thinking which is the most important part over here. I would say the walls, right? So the walls would be thicker, and then will be followed up by the text and plumbing and doors, and finally the thinner would be our dimensions. So let's quickly do that from our layer palette. So let's change the white would be, we say, the walls. So let's change the line weight to 50, right? According to the national CAD standards. That's an international standard, right? So let's click OK. And then doors and also plumbing, I'm holding my control key over here. Doors, plumbing, and text would be a line weight of medium, which was 0.35. And finally, our dimensions would have a line weight of 25, right? 0.25. All right. So now it looks like nothing happened, but if we go to our paper space and do a preview, right? We can do a preview. We're gonna see that now there is a change on light weights. As you can see, this is looking thicker than this, and this is also looking thicker than the dimensions. We see a problem though, which is these two lines over here are probably not on the correct layer. So let's quickly fix these two lines for the wall. But other than that, we can see the difference in line weight now, which is nice to give them the importance that our drawing needs, right? So let's quickly fix that. Again, if we select these two pieces of lines, we can see that still on layer 0. So we can match the properties of our layer using the match property command, and I'm going to match this wall to these two lines, this one and this one. So now we can see that they are on the Oops, let's match it again. Match this to this, and let's see. Okay, let's change it then to a walls like so. All right, so I think we are ready to create our PDF. So let's do that. Let's do a preview. And if this is looking nicely, then let's quickly say print over here or plot, and we can save it over here. So existing bathroom, I'm gonna click save, and then we can see our final product over here, which is our existing bathroom. Awesome, right? So let me know, what do you think about this existing bathroom plan? And we're gonna start reading some of your comments with 10 people connected on the chat. Let's see, what do you think about today's lesson? We quickly generated this existing bathroom plan, and let's see what people are saying on the chat. Let's see. Alfian, I think you're new to the show. I didn't see you before, but that's awesome that new people are finding our show. That's awesome. Thank you for being here. Saying good for you. So, yeah, let's see what people have to say about today live stream before we wrap up with 8 people. That's awesome. So let's see. All right. Thank you, Alfian. All right. So Michael Duke says nothing like dynamic blocks. That was a good suggestion, Michael. But again, today's live stream was a way to teach new folks that are learning AutoCAD, right? In the future, I might do a tutorial on how to draw an existing conditions using more advanced techniques like dynamic blocks, macro commands, and so on. So of course that will be a new topic, but that's very a good idea. Kumar is on the chat, says today's session was awesome, sir. Thanks a lot. Nice, Kumar. Thank you for letting us know. So that means we might start doing more of these type of live streams, right? Because I think we don't have many as this, where we go over the whole process, actually, from having an existing survey, translated it into AutoCAD, and then imported it as a PDF with the correct scale and everything. So I think that's like an entire process that we did today with a small project, but we might repeat these type of projects then. So thank you, Kumar, for your comment. And let's see if we have more comments before we wrap up today's live stream, right? So don't forget that we have a date for our CAD meetings already, or our AutoCAD meetings. The date is on January 29th. That would be Saturday. So I might finally meet some of you guys on Zoom. That would be awesome. So I previously shared how you can access the Zoom link and everything, but I'm gonna do it again really quick. If you are seeing my screen and you are a member of the channel, you can go to the membership tab on the Lazy Arquitecto channel, and here you'll find our Zoom invitation. Of course, if you expand this, you will see our Zoom link. So that way we can meet each other and have this AutoCAD meeting, which is something new on the channel. I mean, I had so many AutoCAD meetings at the office where I work, right, in this architecture firm, but I've never had it here in the channel with you guys. So let's see how that goes. If people respond well, we can keep doing it. If not, we can try something else. But I like to, try different things, see how people enjoy it. Let's see. We have also Douglas Mike says, I would like to see you take the floor plan and see how you do your elevations. Oh, um, thank you, Duke. That's a nice comment. Um, so I think I already did that, but I can do it again maybe um, on a future live stream. But maybe I can point you to the right video, because I already did an elevation from a floor plan. So let's see. Let's go to videos, and that would be on a. Let's see. I have so many videos that, but let's see. I'm sure I already did it, Duke. Where you are requesting. I just need to find it. So let's see where it is. Where it is. So here we go. Found it right here, Duke. That's the video for you. Best AutoCAD techniques to draw architectural elevations. So that's the video that you need. And here I basically grab a floor plan and draw the elevations from it really quick using dynamic blocks and some techniques that that might be helpful to you. So Duke says, "Can't wait, should be fun." Yeah, I think you're referring to the CAD meetings, right? To the AutoCAD meetings. Yeah, Duke. I think you're a member already. I can see by your icon next to it. So you're a member. Of course, I'm gonna see you there on the 29th of January. Xiomara Araujo says super stickers. Thank you, Xiomara, for sending that out. That's a way to support our show, right? I can see that you enjoy the show, so thank you very much for your support. Thank you, Xiomara. And then we have also Douglas Michael says, I know how, was just curious to see you do it. Yes, you can see, you can watch that video later and see how I do my exterior elevations. I can do an update one because this is one that I did 3 years ago. So, but still is very useful for the techniques I show there. Michael says, thanks. All right, guys. Before we wrap up today's live stream, let me know if you have questions or suggestions for future shows with 8 people connected. That's awesome. We were here, I think, 50 minutes, almost an hour already. That's crazy. Xiomara Raujo says, great job. Thank you, Xiomara, for always being here with us. So that's awesome. So yeah, thank you, Xiomara, very much for your super sticker also. That's awesome. So if people don't know, but that's a way to help support the channel with super stickers also. If you can do that, that's awesome too. All right, with 8 people, we're gonna start preparing our next live shows. As always, have a great rest of the day, and I'll see you next Sunday.